Intro hook. Have you ever wondered why some women have darker intimate areas while others don't? Is it about hygiene, sexual activity, or something deeper in biology and psychology? Most people assume color differences must mean something negative, but what if I told you the truth is far from what you've been taught? In fact, the darker shade of a woman's private area often reveals fascinating details about hormones, genetics, psychology, and even attraction. Stay with me, because by the end of this video, you'll see this topic in a completely different light. 1. Hormonal influence, the science behind the shade when it comes to skin, tenacity, and intimate.
Various hormones are the silent architects. During puberty, estrogen levels rise, signaling the body to mature.
This hormonal wave doesn't just change a woman's voice or body shape. It also increases melanin in sensitive areas like the labia and nipples, often making them darker. During pregnancy, another hormonal surge leads to even more pigmentation changes. Doctors call this hyperpigmentation. It's completely natural. Even menstrual cycles can subtly influence color because of fluctuating hormone levels. So when someone notices a darker tone, it's not a fluke. It's a sign of hormonal activity, maturity, and natural body chemistry. But here's the twist. While science explains the biology, psychology explains the impact this has on confidence and attraction. 2. Confidence versus insecurity, the psychology of color. Unfortunately, society has taught many women to judge themselves harshly. Airbrushed models, unrealistic beauty standards, and misinformation often create shame around normal body features. But psychologists point out something powerful. Women who embrace their natural appearance, including the color of their intimate areas, report greater self-esteem and sexual confidence. This acceptance leads to better intimacy, more trust, and deeper emotional connection with their partners. In other words, what really matters is not the color itself, but the mindset attached to it. A woman who accepts her body fully often radiates a kind of confidence that's far more attractive than any physical detail. 3. Genetics and melanin, nature's blueprint. Take it deeper. Just as some people have blue eyes, while others have brown eyes. Intimate skin tone varies by genetics and ethnicity. Individuals with naturally darker skin have more melanin. So it makes sense their intimate areas are darker too. This is not an imperfection, simply how human biology works. Think of melanin. As a protective pigment, it shields skin from UV rays and plays a role in natural variation. When seen this way, darker coloration is not only natural, but an incredible biological design. But how do men perceive this difference? That brings us to a fascinating area of sexual psychology. 4. Attraction is personal, the psychology of desire when it comes to attraction. There is no universal rule. Some men may find lighter tones more appealing, while others are drawn to the darker, richer shades, associating them with maturity, sensuality, or uniqueness. In fact, studies in sexual psychology suggest that men are often drawn to traits that feel rare or exotic, because uniqueness fuels curiosity and desire. In fetish studies, darker vaginal tones are sometimes linked with higher perceptions of sexual energy, not because of science, but because of how the mind creates associations. But here's the important point. Attraction is always subjective. What one man finds irresistible, another might overlook. The key takeaway? A woman's confidence is the magnet, not just her biology. 5. Myths versus reality. Clearing the confusion, let's address the biggest misconceptions. Darker vaginal. Color does not mean poor hygiene. It does not mean a woman is more sexually active. It does not mean disease or damage. These are myths that have no scientific backing. The truth is simple. The color of the vaginal area is about hormones, melanin, and genetics, not behavior or cleanliness. So, the question becomes, if color doesn't define health or value, then what does? Final thought, a new perspective. Here's the truth that most people miss. A darker vaginal tone is not only normal, it's often a sign of healthy hormonal balance and natural variation. Instead of attaching shame or judgment, we should replace old myths with understanding. At the end of the day, what really matters is health, hygiene, and confidence. And when a woman embraces her body as it is, whether lighter or darker, she steps into a level of confidence that no beauty standard can control. The shade of a woman's intimate area has long been surrounded by curiosity, myths, and unnecessary stigma. Many people are surprised to learn that the color of the vulva isn't random, it's shaped by biology, hormones, and genetics. But what does it really reveal? Let's break this down step by step. 1. Hormonal influence is key. Just like changes in skin tone, the vaginal area can darken under the impact of hormones, especially estrogen. During puberty, pregnancy, or other hormonal shifts, areas such as the labia, inner thighs, and even nipples may become darker. This is completely natural and linked to melanin, the pigment that gives skin, hair, and eyes their color, too. Confidence, not insecurity. Cultural beauty standards often create unnecessary shame for women with darker, intimate skin tones. In reality, this variation is neither abnormal nor dirty. In fact, psychologists highlight that women who accept and embrace their natural appearance often experience more confidence and intimacy, which leads to healthier relationships and stronger emotional bonds. 3. Genetics and melanin at play. Just as eye or hair color differs between individuals, the same is true for the color of the vulva. People with darker overall skin tones naturally produce more melanin, which also extends to intimate areas. It's not a flaw, it's a genetic trait, with no health risks attached, for attraction is subjective. From a psychological perspective, sexual attraction is deeply personal. Some men find darker tones especially appealing, linking them consciously or subconsciously to uniqueness, maturity, or sensuality. This isn't based on science, but rather perception, personal preference, and cultural influence. 5. Myths versus reality. The color of a woman's vagina says nothing about hygiene, health, or sexual behavior. It doesn't indicate promiscuity, poor care, or disease. Those are baseless myths. What actually matters is overall health, personal hygiene, and self-confidence. Re-engagement hook. Before we go further, think about this. If something is private, as a woman's intimate skin tone is widely misunderstood, how many other aspects of her psychology, behavior, and body language are we misreading every single day? That's why men who master these subtle details often gain a psychological advantage in relationships. They don't just look at the surface, they read what's underneath. Now, let's go deeper. 6. The evolutionary psychology angle. From an evolutionary standpoint, the human body has always signaled hidden truths. Blushing reveals emotion. Pupil dilation signals attraction. Skin tone shifts can reflect health or fertility. Similarly, the color changes in a woman's intimate area during puberty or pregnancy are unconscious signals of sexual maturity and hormonal readiness. These changes are not deliberate, yet they influence attraction on a primal level. This is why some men often, without even realizing it, are drawn to darker tones. The subconscious associates them with maturity, fertility, and vitality. But here's the paradox. While evolution hardwires these instincts, modern culture rewires our perception with beauty standards and media influence. So, the real challenge is not the biology. It's breaking free from society's programming. 7. The cultural trap of shame across history and cultures. The female body has been both worshipped and censored. In ancient art and sculptures, darker tones in intimate areas were depicted as natural symbols of fertility. But in modern times, the rise of digital media, editing tools, and adult entertainment has created an illusion of perfection. This illusion tells women that lighter, uniform skin is ideal, while anything different is flawed. Result: women internalize unrealistic standards. Men are trained to expect a false version of reality. Relationships suffer because intimacy becomes about comparison, not connection. Psychologists argue that this disconnect fuels insecurities for both genders. Men may feel dissatisfied because their expectations don't match reality, Women feel judged for things that are actually normal. And here lies the danger. A man who buys into illusions loses his ability to see. Truth. Point 8. What men need to understand. Here's where it gets practical. If you're a man navigating relationships, here's what darker vaginal coloration really means, and what it absolutely does not mean. It means her hormones are active, her body is responsive, and she is maturing naturally. It does not mean she's promiscuous. It does not mean she's unhealthy. It does not mean she's used up or unclean. Men who understand this difference avoid the trap of shallow judgment. They gain an edge because they see women as they are, not as society paints them. And this insight ties directly into a bigger truth about attraction. Women are far more drawn to men who project understanding, strength, and acceptance than those who cling to childish stereotypes. 9. The hidden link to female confidence. Here's something most men miss. A. Woman's confidence in her intimate appearance can directly affect how she behaves in relationships. A woman who feels ashamed may avoid intimacy, hide herself, or hold back emotionally. A woman who accepts her natural appearance is more open, passionate, and emotionally giving, so the color itself doesn't matter. What matters is whether she's at peace with it. And guess what? Men have influence here.